Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming. In the last video we began going over the EmployeeController.cs file, and I had a couple errors in there that I have since resolved, so let's go over what they were, why they were, etc. In here, I had a problem in several of these. If you look in here, and I got rid of the spaces because I didn't know what was going on. So I had a problem with the parentheses in here. I think it was this one here. I had the parenthesis like up here or something like that. That was what was screwing a lot of things up. The other thing is I was having a error with all these value statements. And the reason for that is in my view model file, I had to go in and let them know that these fields were all nullable. So I had to put the question mark there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and finally there. And once I did, all those errors went away. So this is for my create. All right. And now what are we doing? Well, that was the post. Okay. So now we've got this validate specific fields. We're going to do that later because that's going to be a little bit of an undertaking. All right. So what we have to do next is we have to do our edit. Remember, this is a CRUD operation. So we went through the create, we went through the read. All right. So how about next? We go through edit, which is our update. All right. Now, what this should do is it should render the edit form, and it should be pre-populated with the values that are currently identified, that we currently have in there. So if it's an hourly employee, it should have the current employee's first name, last name, hours worked, and hourly rate as an example. Now we will need an ID in here because we have to know which one of these we want to be editing. Now we're getting that error again because we're getting the error because we haven't returned anything yet. So all right, that should have been var. I don't know how I got barrier in there, but that's okay. All right. Okay, now we want to look up the employee that we passed in, and we want to return a 404 error if the ID doesn't exist. Which is exactly what we did right there, okay? So if that emp is equal to null, that means we put in a non-existing ID. So we're going to return not found. All right. Now if we get down this far, okay, we want to convert the domain model to an edit employee view model. And the way we do that is we say var VM equals map to edit view model emp, and then we want to return the view. And if you look on here right now, it's giving us an error and it says that does not exist. So again, it's going to be another thing that we're going to have to add. So again, I'm just throwing this stuff out here so we don't have errors. And you'll notice, well, var VM equals this. Okay, so we have to return let's see if we just return an emp here, if that works. Okay, like I said, I'm just trying to get rid of those errors as I'm making my way through here. All right, so next we want to do the post for the edit. After we get done with this, which is a little bit of code here, then it'll be time to do the delete. This is going to handle the form submission for updating an existing employee. Since it is, we're going to put here an HTTP post. We will need to pass in an ID. All right, now one of the first things, and I think these errors are going to go away, but we're going to see, is we want to make sure that we're not going to be editing the wrong record. So if somebody were to come in and try to do something they shouldn't do, we'll say if ID not equal to VM.ID, we're going to return bad request. All right, we're going to let the system basically handle that. All right, next we want to validate the type-specific required fields. All right, the same kind of logic as create, but using the edit employee view model instead. So again, we want to validate type-specific fields and pass in our view model. Okay. Then we have to get the entity again, refetch it, so to speak, so that EFCore's change tracker will recognize the object, so we're able to actually do an update. We're doing a lot of similar things in here. Again, just like before, if it returns null, it wasn't found. So we put in a bad URL. Otherwise, we want to be able to update the fields common to every employee type. So Now we want to use pattern matching again on the concrete type to update only the fields that belong to that subclass. It's safer than casting blindly and not knowing exactly what it is we're doing. So we're going to come in here and do a switch on emp. It'll look very similar to what we did before, except the only thing is we're not dealing with first and last name. So case notice we don't have an error now with the value statement. Okay, and we're going to have to do this again for each one of our employee types. So let me copy this, try to make my life a little bit easier. Now, so the second one will be piece worker employee. Okay. Come on. Well, let's just get rid of both these lines. We'll just fix them with p dot pieces made equals vm dot pieces made dot value. We don't need to do any rounding because it's an integer value. Okay, in this one we do need to round, so okay, so that's that one. Next we'll have our commission employee, and that'll be a C. And we'll leave the commission percentage. Okay, and finally we'll need to do the salaried employee. We only have one here. Whoops. One here. Okay, so we've got all that done. We want to make sure this persists. So we will say underscore service dot update. We'll set that temp data like we did before. See if we can grab that one. Where do we do that there? Change the message, but we can do something similar in here. so success, and we just want to say updated successfully. And we will return redirect to action, name of index, same kind of way. All right, so right now, and I'm still not sure, I have to look at to see why we got that error here. I think it's because we need an edit view model. It says could not be found, so I think we need that. But what is left is to come in and do our delete. All right, and I think I'll do that in the next video, rather than making this one go a lot longer than it has to, and I'll see you then.